So based on the narrative that I have received, it's a very unique feature, and also something that we all feel proud about is the enormous and an amazing success of the community, the Patel community, which are who are originally from Gujarat on the west coast of India. Uh, I don't mean to stereotype, but generally speaking, the reputation that the folks from Gujarat have received is that they're extremely entrepreneurial, they are self-reliant, and they're very creative and resourceful. And not just in the country of India, but also outside of India. And some statistics that that we have been shared with, and which is that almost 60% of all the motels and hotels in the United States are owned or controlled by the community from Gujarat, who all share a last name, Patel. And so it's a very unique phenomenon that so many of the Patel community have ventured into the hotels and motels business in the United States, and how wonderfully successful they are. So naturally, it begs the question, what is the secret behind their success? What is it that makes them so uniquely suitable to running this hospitality business, which is very responsible, and it's got a lot of liabilities and risks involved in it? What is it that makes them tick? What is it that makes them successful in it? And what can we learn from this? That's the thing. So the topic of today's discussion is to understand the resilience and the remarkable success that the Patels have achieved in the hospitality business within the United States. So the topic is Surat to San Francisco, how the Patels from Gujarat established a hotel business in California from 1940s all the way to 1960s. So that's the basic premise on which we'll be talking about. And depending on whether or not he would agree to answer questions in the middle of his talk or presentation, or he would request us to wait for his presentation before we ask them questions. Mr. Doshi ji, please let us know.
Either way is fine. You can ask me if I started one part of the conversation, and you can stop me and ask me a question, and I will be happy to answer. No,
Sure.
no problem
Okay,
whatsoever.
that's very nice of you, sir. Thank you very much. Let's get started. We are all very eager to hear your story.
Okay. Thank you. Greetings from San Jose, California. And I am grateful to Dr. Sen Gupta for facilitating my talk to the Indic department of the University of Massachusetts. And I am really honored. My main, as you said, topic is about Patels, how they achieve such a phenomenal success in the hospitality business. So I start with this. Who are the Patels? Patels are a land-owning farming community in the state of Gujarat, and now they have branched out as an entrepreneur, as a business people, and mostly in America, they are hotel and motel owners. They're they are about close to 250 to 280,000 Patels among Indian population of 4.8 million. Patels are originally is a Sanskrit word, came from the Sanskrit word patela, means one who one who tills the land. And in the Mughal time, they, the head of the farming community was given title Patel. And Patel were known before as a Kanbis, farmers. In my state of Saurashtra, where I go, we don't call them Patels, we call them Kanbis. So Kanbis were later given name Patels, and now Patel in Gujarat is anybody who farms the land or owns the land.
Okay.
So Patel have achieved such a success, and your question was why, and I will tell you the qualities of the Patels. Patels are well known for their business acumen, their entrepreneurship, and deal making. They are also risk takers, and the frugality is a part of their DNA. If they earn $100, they would put $80 in back in the business and live frugally in the small amount. So that is one reason they are very successful. And they didn't come to America, so okay, they will start as a business to start as a hotel business. But no, Patels were actually started coming. You would be surprised from 1907 onwards. But they came. They found America not too hospitable. The only job they got was in a farming community. So some of them from 1907 to 1930 went back and told everybody America is not a place to be because uh, it doesn't help family reunification. It doesn't uh, because of discrimination, you cannot get a decent job. So we should go back to where we usually go, and that is in East Africa, South Africa, Panama, Trinidad, and elsewhere. So America was not in the radar in from 1907 till 1930s. Okay, now to start with the Patels. Patel's name is synonymous with their hotel and motel business.
Mhm.
They own over 60% of all the hotels on motels. There are 22,000 families of Patels who between them own 36,000 US properties of hotels and motels throughout America. Because of this, uh, their contribution to the American economy is enormous. Let me tell you, they own, they employ 1 million plus people. They spend 50 billion with a B in hotel supplies. They pay 100 billion again with a B in federal, state, and local taxes. Their contribution to the US GDP is $371 billion. So, such a unique phenomena of Patel success in America, we need to know how they started. People keep asking me that Patel started the hotel business in 1917. How come they achieved such a huge success? I said, no, no, Patel didn't start hotel business when Ugandans were kicked out of by Idi Amin and they came here, Patel from Uganda. But no, the Patel business started actually in 1942. But let me ask you, why Patel started coming to America? You know, in the district of Surat, where most of the early founders Patel came, there were either too much rain or too little rain, and British taxation system was very harmful. They take away 45% of all your produce. So in a bad time, there's nothing left for them to feed their families and spend money on the business. So they were always in debt. So, and Patel usually have the very large families. There were usually 3 to 5 sons and 2 daughters. So it was a rule among the families. If you are the youngest 2 children, if they are male, their job is to go to Bombay, Madras, Calcutta, or East Africa, or Panama, or West Indies, and earn for 3 to 5 years and help ease the family debt. So because of this one, there are three families early in 1922, 1930, and 1937. These three Patel separately decided to go to foreign countries. They didn't have any network of friends in East Africa. So they had a couple people they knew in Panama and West Indies. So one of them landed in Panama, two of them landed in San Fernando, Trinidad. Now I'm talking about 1920s and early 1930s. So their job was, their task was to earn as much as they could. But in Panama or West Indies, only thing they did was make $10 a week, and that wasn't sufficient enough to send money back home. So they were getting tired, and they just said, "Oh, we spent so much money to come here, and we are not making anything. What we do?" So there was a talk among in those years in Panama and West Indies as America is a land of opportunity. Opportunity is actually land of, in Gujarati they say doodh and honey, milk and honey. You go there, it's the river of milk and honey. You just go there and take a jump in it. So, but in again in 1930s, America had stopped Asian migration by the rule of 1917 and 1924. Immigration law of 1924 disbarred the Asian immigration, including Chinese, the Japanese, the Indians, and Burmese, and everyone who were the part of the wider Asia. So only way they could come was to come illegal means. And one of them came via banana boat. He bribed somebody in the banana boat $60, and he landed in Southern California. Other two, one made a fraudulent visa to land in New York, took a 3-day pass to Yuba City and started working in the farm. Third Patel came via the donkey route that most people are taking now to the Honduras, the Belize, and southern Mexico, to all the way to North Mexico to San Diego area. So these people really wanted to come to America. So they did their best to, of course, by illegal means to come. So they all met together in the central California town of Yuba City and Marysville. The only job, because being illegal, they got was working in farms, making 10 cents an hour, and they were subject to immigration raid, harassment, blackmail that you have to work extra hours with a very little. So again, they keep working, but money wasn't enough. But they were a bunch of very determined people. They said, we are not going back. If we go back, they will tell us we were a failure. They spent so much money on us and we can't give a black eye to our family. So they were waiting for an opportunity. And the opportunity came in the World War II when America declared war on Japanese, and 125,000 Japanese in California and throughout America were interned in various camps. So they had to do was to, they weren't sure how long they would be in the camp. So they had to fire sell their business. They had to give it away, business to someone. So one of all these three people had become friends by now because they were in a small town of Surat. So they didn't know personally each other, but they become friends. And they said they were staying in this one Japanese single room occupancy hotel. Single room occupancy hotel is like our Charlie system in India. Uh, you have a 8 by 8 room, and the bathroom is down the hall, and there is not much service being provided by the lodge keeper. So they were staying in a hotel, this hotel, and this Japanese lady says, "Hey, I'm being forced to report to the internment camp tomorrow. So would you be able to run my hotel while I am there? And when I come back, I'll take over." So these guys didn't know at all how they were going to run the hotel. But they said, okay, they were tired of working in 110-degree temperature in Yuba City. So they said, okay, we'll try. So they said, okay, give us 350 down and $75 a month lease. And the hotel is yours for 5 years. So this is how first hotel, with the help of Japanese, was procured by the Patel, whose name was Kanji Manchu Desai. He was a Patel, but because his family collected revenue for the British government, they were called Desais. So, so if anybody has a question, feel free.
Yeah, so I just had one question, Doshiji. So the last name Patel is maybe suggestive of their occupation and their ancestry, but it is not necessary that a Patel needs to have Patel as the last name in order to be a Patel. Am I right about that?
That is true. However, everyone who is a farmer is a Patel, and they have kept the Patel name. So if you go to the HOA convention, which is American Association of Hotel Owners, and
Hmm.
mostly there are 99% out of 22,000 members are Patels, and they kept the name. Only time Patel has changed their name during the 70s when they were not able to get the insurance. So some of them put their grandfather's name as their last name.
I see. No, I only bring up this name, this point because it is more an explanation of their business sense and that sense of entrepreneurship rather than just their ancestry, is what I'm trying to get at.
True to the extent, but now Patel are they are synonymous with their name
Yeah,
of their business profession, and so they are always keeping. And Patel are very endomorph. They do not marry outside their family. In Gujarat, there are 6 gams, so they can bring the women from outside, but they won't give up their son from outside. In other words, they will try to marry as much as practical from the girl from their own gown. All right.
thank
So,
you.
so,
Thank
uh,
you.
so let's go back to so this Patel, without knowing any how to run the hotel business, they started running it, and
Hmm.
because they all stayed in the hotel, they cooked in the hotel, and they were able to make their lease very successful. In those days, in 1942, they probably made no more than $100 a month. But in those days, $100 were had a lot of buying power, and they were able to uh, beat the farm wages, which was $30 to $40 in a month. So now this Patel Kanji Manchu Desai, and I'm trying to make him known because without him, none of this 22,000 families of Patel would be in the hotel business, because this man was a man of golden heart. He realized that Patels who come here, because of the prevalent discrimination, only job they are getting is farms. So this hotel business as his business model would be very ideal for the other Patel. So in 2 years, he made 3 Patel hotelier in Sacramento area. But then the war ended, and the Japanese lady repossessed her or retook her business from the Kanji Manchu Desai. So Kanji Manchu had now learned that, hey, this business is good, and I don't have to go back to the farm. So he moved in 1947 to Sacramento. No, I'm sorry, San Francisco, where they were between 6th and 2nd Street, between Howard and Mission Street in the Mission District, very close to Tenderloin area of San Francisco. There were close to 150 hotels. And so he was able to get lease one hotel for something like $2,000 down and $150 a month. The hotel rates were not great, and they were, because of the single room occupancy hotels, they were catering to the people who were in welfare, people who were uh, not making enough money, and people, or all kinds of people, people of ill repute. But this was the start for them, and this was where they were making money. So they worked hard. They didn't have to have a apartments. They cook khichdi kadhi. There is a Gujarati staple food for all these Patels. Kanji Manchu fed almost all of them and said, hey, if you are a Patel, lease a hotel because there is nothing better for you. So with the dint of his personality, he made 30 Patel hoteliers from 1947 to 1952. And by this time, President Truman had uh, changed the immigration law, where Indians before they cannot be allowed to immigrate, they cannot become citizens, and those who try to become citizens were put all kinds of hurdles in their path. So now he allowed very minuscule number, 100 Indians a year.
I see.
So in Gujarat, one Patel had already known about Kanji Manchu being a successful hotelist in America, though he took 6 to 10 applications and applied, and American government gave them a visa. So 30 Patels came by 1949, 1950, 1952, and they all stayed with Kanji Manchu's hotel, and he encourage them to work in the farms for 6 to 8 months, save $2,000, and get a hotel. So by 1960, there were more than 60 hoteliers. And then again, the immigration law of 1965 changed. We all are there here because of that law. And Patel started calling their brother, their sister, and brother-in-laws, and so on and so forth. And that's how they all wanted to get a piece of American landscape, a hotel. So this is how they started. And Patel had a novel method. You'd To run a hotel in 1960s, you didn't need to be educated. Only thing, most of these Patel who came were fourth grade, if at all at that. And only thing they were told to learn 10 words. Here's the hotel, here's the room, here's the bathroom, and your what you owe us. So because of that, they stayed in a hotel. They didn't have to have an apartment, and they were able to cook very cheaply Gujarati staple food, and they were able to get help of their friends and other people without paying them anything. They just bartered their room for them. So this is
Yeah.
how the Patel hotel business started, from
Yeah.
one hotel to 30 hotels. And then there was an Alien Land Act where Patel couldn't buy anything. And after the war, that law changed. So now they were able to buy, and they started buying hotels. And from hotels, 1965 was the first motel bought by Patel in San Francisco. And then with the influx of the Ugandan Patels, they started buying the roadside hotels in the middle of the highway,
I
anywhere
see.
in the United States. And
Doshiji,
they usually were the dilapidated, needed a lot of work, but they made it a successful enterprise.
yes, Doshiji, may I ask another question?
Of
Now,
course.
we may include this going forward, but do you think you can also address some of the difficulties in language that they have faced? Because some of them have immigrated, they may or may not have had the capability to communicate fluently with the typical American population, and so any ideas about how they overcame that obvious disadvantage and were able to assimilate into this community and still become successful?
So definitely, yeah. Most of the I missed one part of them between 1942 and 1949, because the success of Kanji Manchu in the hotel business, his fame spread all across the West Indies, Jamaica, and Surat. So a lot of illegal Patels started coming, and they were all basically fourth grade educated. And but this is what happens when you are in America. If you man the desk, you don't know much English, but at least you learn basic skill within a few months. So they somehow manage, and most Patel will as not assimilated as much in the 50s and 60s. They stayed in their headquarters, and their main aim was to be successful, and that eventually, when the ladies started coming, Patel ladies were not allowed to come before until 1952, and they
Oh,
started come, and they were really shocked to see what was happening in the hotel business. They had to deal with the people of ill repute. People were winos and drunks, and so, but they had a one aim. So they are here to help their husbands, and so they reluctantly participate in the hotel business. But eventually, it turned out to be good because it freed the Patels to start uh, expanding the hotel business.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Mahendra
So,
ji, if I could just ask, could you clarify for us how this word motel came into the lexicon?
oh, sure. Yeah, that is that is a good story behind it. Um, the hotel, see, before 1957, there were no motels. Uh, so if you are traveling, let's say from San Francisco to Los Angeles, so and in those days the highways were not as great as this Highway 5 right now, where you go at 75 miles an hour. So what they were pocket of shelters where you are tired, so you stay, get a donut and coffee, rest for a couple minutes, and they were charging $1 for a few hours. So so what happened was there was a hotel in San Luis Obispo in 1924, and this entrepreneur had a new sign. So he was trying to put so and so hotel. He was saying San Luis Hotel Lodge, but he couldn't fit the whole the all letters in. So he put hotel, and so he sort put hotel and put is call it a motor lodge. He wanted to call it a motor lodge. So hotel and motor. So he put hotel, and it become motel. So this is how motel. So motel is actually is a motor lodge. That's what it is.
Okay.
So Patels were in the beginning, once they got out of the single room occupancy hotels where there wasn't much money, basically survived because the rents were 50 cents a day, 350 $350 a week. So there wasn't much after you pay the supplies and other things. But they were basically surviving it, and some of them had a multiple hotels, so they were able to save $3,000 to $5,000. And if you have in 1960 close to $10,000, you can buy a roadside motel in the middle of Ohio somewhere. Patel is such a hardworking community. They are also very clannish, not in any bad sense, but if you go to a Patel and tell them that he is from his village and he knew his grandfather's brother, so this Patel will make sure he's being helped with the handshake loans, with whatever the loans they could give him, and he would make sure he would pay it back. Early Patel had a very unique method of financing. So let's say you needed $2,500 to buy a hotel and you only have 2,000. So one of the Patels will give him $500 as a handshake loan. No legal contract, no monthly payment. You just pay by drib and drab method whenever you could. So this is, and Patel are also from the beginning, wherever they go, they have always been follow one advice from their grandparents or their ancestor. Is that Patel don't work for anyone. They work for themselves. So their grandfather used to say, don't do nokri, do dhando.
Dhanbha, meaning business.
Business, yes, absolutely. I would like to say a few things about how I got into writing the Patel story. I worked for India for a long time in New York, and I had published couple of Indian directories. Who's Who. I was probably be the first one who published in 1975 Who's Who among Indians. So after working for various papers in India as well as here, I decided in my retirement to do another Who's Who because now the Indian population has was such a enormous. But one of the Patel who was a friend of mine, he said, why don't you write about us? Because nobody has written it. And what I found out, there was sporadic story of one Patel in Pennsylvania or one Patel in New York has a multiple hotels and very successful. So I keep asking people, who started the hotel business? So they had no answer. So I went to University of California at Berkeley. They have a library, Bancroft Library, which has a 2,000 plus books on South Asians. But there was not a single book on Patels. However, there were 300 books on Punjabis. But so I thought, well, I will do the oral study. So I met one Patel, and then that led me to the other Patel. And because I am in San Francisco, which was an incubator of the early hoteliers, there were a lot of descendants of those founders, and they helped me out with the stories. So I was able to find all the original Patel's families. And then I found three unpublished cyclostyle biography of early founders who had left something for their grandchildren. So I was able to put together stories based on my 160 interviews with Patels, unpublished biographies, and mementos and letters. So I have done really, in my opinion, a job by lifting out the early founders from the escan of history to the rightful place in our diasporic studies.
Yes.
Hello,
Yes.
sir. I'm Omkar. I'm a student from Chatelain College of Business. I'm doing MBA, and
Okay.
based on how the businesses work nowadays, they have a lot of information and media to get the information from. Uh, at that time when Patels came to US, what was their way of communicating with each other to gather the knowledge about business or how to make the business run? What was their main source and what were they following exactly to carry forward their business?
Are you talking about early Patels in say 30s and 40s and 50s?
Yes, when they started the hotel business at that time. So now if we start a business, we will have
Yes.
multiple references and multiple people to where we can go and ask them on WhatsApp groups or YouTube's videos.
Absolutely. And Google, if you Google everything, they will give the hundreds and hundreds pages of information. No
Yes, sir.
question. Today's word was different. About those early Patels communication skills, they basically spoke very little English. And but they had a network of Patels who were here earlier. They spoke a little better English than them, and so they guided. And this man, who I call the real founders of Patel, Kanji Manchu Desai, he was a man with a vision, and he took all the newcomers in his wings. He gave them shelters. He gave them advice from his pulley, his bully pulpit, from his hotel. He preached. He said, "If you are a Patel, lease a hotel because there is nothing better for you." So his only requirement, he asked them, he said, "Work in the farms, get yourself acclimatization, learn a little bit of English. So when you have a 12 to $1,700 and you will need a little bit more, I will give you that handshake loan. But do this first." And this is how they did. Most of the early 30 Patels who came, they all toil in the sun, walk in sun in 110 degrees temperature. But this is how they learn. This is how their apprenticeship in American business culture. But communication wise, as long as you knew Gujarati and you knew 10 words, so when you before you start your own hotel, you man the desk in one of the existing Patel hotels, and then your English is poor, you learn by heart 10 words. Here's the hotel room, here's the bathroom, here's what you do, here's the monthly payment, so and so forth. This is how learn. And English is, even if you are fourth grade educated, if you man the desk, you listen to people, you probably learn a basic English skill within few weeks to a month or so.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hello.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Mr. Papu. Yes.
Yeah. I live in a small college town, Oxford, Ohio.
Okay.
I remember, the whole situation of the motels and all that. I came to this country in 1963. Okay. And I am here since 1968. There came about a Patel family from Uganda. They owned a small motel. They could not believe you paid 10% down payment, you get the whole motel.
Correct.
So they had a 20-room motel here. It not only was a source of income, but also a source of employment for everybody, because you don't really need anybody to sit in the front desk. It has a provided quarters, next to the office there is a little quarters, and the woman there were no cleaners and all that. The woman used to clean the bathrooms and everything, and some other girl, anybody who comes there, take this one. And they were so self-sufficient. So it provided employment for 3-4 people, free quarters. Okay. And sometimes, when I put some Indian guests there, they used to give the Indian food and all that. They flourished so well. Now, 2-3 of these kids, they went to the university, local university, Miami University, and they are now doctors and all that stuff. That is a very, but what you have forgotten is, in my view, the Patels make money and they also spend money on religious causes. Take any temple, the most contributions come from the Patel community. He's not a Patel, but I know Hasu Shah in Harrisburg.
So
You know
I'm
him?
very familiar with it.
Hasu Shah,
Yes.
because I was associated with him because he gave a lot of money to the Encyclopedia of Hinduism project. I was working on with Swamiji from Rishikesh. Actually, he told a very interesting story. I talk about the religiosity. He and his brother worked in the GM. Both of them have resigned, and both of them got the motels. His brother did not make it. So he sold the motel and went back to the GM to work. This person flourished so well. Now he owns 3 Marriotts. But every time I talk to him, he says, हमारे हाथ में क्या है, सब भगवान का इच्छा है, सब भगवान का इच्छा है. Look at my brother, look at me. What did I do to succeed? No, it's all Bhagwan ka ichha. That is constantly I find that one, deep religiosity among all these Patel, and I include among the Patels, the Seths and Shahs and some of these people, That's one thing I found out. They give a lot of money. They make money, they give the money. That kind of an attitude I didn't find among the other Indians. I have lots of friends who make a lot of money. Hardly they give anything for religious causes.
Very true. But, it is our Indian thing in the terms of religion you give. And Patels are generous and very generous in that sense. And couple of like Swaminarayan temple is mostly Patels. But those Patels are not the Surti Patels. See, Patels have a various subcaste among them. There are Surti Patels, there are Kadwa Patels, there are Matya Patels, there are Bhakta Patels. So, so again, I agree. Patel have been very generous in religious causes, but nowadays they are also in some other than religious. They give charities to the eye hospital and this hospital. And I have seen myself personally, and I have a lot of Patel friends because of my book. And I see they are making a name for themselves beside being a hoteliers in other causes. And they are in politics. We have a Kas Patel, but of course he is not a hoteliers. I had a chance to meet with him because one of the Republican conferences, the people asked me if I would come and give my book to him. But I said, I am not familiar with this man. So that somehow I was invited and I went there. But the Kas Patel told me that I am not a hotelier, I'm a lawyer, but I will read that. His family actually came from his father came from Uganda, his mother came from other East African countries. Yeah.
There is also some backlash against the Patels, owning the motels. In the South, there used to be the signs, American owned.
Oh, yeah.
That means it is not a Patel hotel.
Yeah.
We are also Americans, no?
Yes, I am very familiar with the backlash. They were also, Patels were not allowed to get insurance, so that gave the right to the HOA association. And uh, there was a backlash, was a kind of it was a racial thing because Patels, what they do, if a client comes at middle of the night and the guys the desk says it's $35, and so the guy says, oh, down the whole hotel is asking 35. He said, okay, I'll give 25. So they cut the rates to get the people, and some of the things they were going on, and also they were taking over dilapidated hotels. They were catering to anybody and everybody, in other words. So they were there, but those days are practically over. Now Patels are in franchise hotels. They are in the boutique hotels. They are also in the resort hotels. And amount of wealth they created for themselves has reached sky high. So
Yes.
I have uh, been privileged to meet some of them, and I keep telling them, if it wasn't for Kanji Manchu Desai, you wouldn't be here. And so we need to get this man his rightful due. One of the American writers put Kanji Manchu Desai among the giants of American hospitality industry, like J.W. Marriott and others. So, but he has so far not got his due among the Patel hoteliers, and that's what I'm doing my best to do so.
Mahendra ji, Bela here. Would you like to share the pictures with us?
Yes, I would. I will. If you don't mind, I'll get my son to help me out.
Oh, of course, sure.
One second. Parthiv?
You
Yeah.
are a co-host, so
Yeah, he's coming right here.
yes.
I'm a journalist, so I'm a low-tech guy.
No problem.
Sure.
No.
Right.
While Parthiv is setting up the computer to share the pictures, may I just add to what Professor Pappu said? Not only have the Patels contributed generously to religious causes in the US, now they have taken big projects, infrastructure projects in India, Gujarat, for example. For example, in our campus, we have in the Center for Indic Studies board, we have Ishwar Bhai Patel, who was supposed to join us, but unfortunately couldn't. He and his family and his kind of greater family, they have taken this project of bringing in piped water, drinking water to a whole number of villages, not just one, a huge number of villages in Surat. So they have been doing different kinds of work related to development, not only in this country, but also in India.
Yes, indeed. Well, Patel is now branching out because they have achieved a tremendous success, and they have one advantage, that they have a lot of cash for, and so they are trying to make good use of it. And I have personally seen here in Bay Area, they've been very generous. In fact, because of my book, some Patels have come forward and have made an arrangement with Tenderloin Museum of San Francisco on 18th Street, where they will be giving us a basement to do a Patel Hotel Museum. So that is good thing. And so Patels are branching out. They're doing everything good, and just like everything else, if you are capable financially, you make good use of your money. So they are trying to establish their own legacy. In that sense, yes. And this is some of the hotels. See, now if you see this Pyramid Hotel, this is a single room occupancy hotels in middle of San Francisco, or Tenderloin or the Mission District. And these were the early hotel years. So Hotel Henry, Hotel Alder, and then look in the bottom, it says 50 cents per day and per week, $2.25 to $5. And the hotel on the right is one of the founders whose son and daughter-in-law are a good friend of mine. And this was a hotel with multiple rooms. And so if you have a hotel like that, you make a decent money as long as you watch your expenses. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, now this one on the left, right sitting is the Kanji Manchu Desai. This is the real founder of the hotel business. On the left, on my left is Nanalal Patel. He came in 1922, and he came to take an adventurous trip to Panama and learn something to give something some knowledge to his town of Khara Butwara in southern Gujarat. He didn't need to earn, so he wanted to learn, but he couldn't do anything. Only thing he did was to sell brochure to the tourists. So he took a banana boat, bribed the captain $60, sat in the bottom for 12, 13 hours, landed in Southern California, and the Punjabi Underground Railroad took him straight to Yuba City, where he started working in the farms, 10 cents an hour. On the left, standing up is a Bhikkhu Bhakta. This guy wanted to come to America to earn, but he had a hard time arriving in America. So he took a long route via Honduras, via Belize, via southern Mexico. It's one of those donkey routes. You know, a lot of Indians are coming now, just before Trump become president. So he took one of those roads, suffered terribly, but somehow managed to come, and then he fought for the United States government in the Italian theater, and because of that he become citizen. And he died in 1996, but he was again preach hotel business to a lot of bhaktas. He was a bhakta Patel. Okay, and now the top photo of is the Kanji Manchu Desai. Here's what happens when you found an industry, but you do not get the benefit of it. So Kanji Manchu came illegally in 1930s, and he never applied to become legal. I think American government wouldn't allow him to become legal. So somehow, after so many years, he was found out by the immigration department. So they deported him in actually he voluntarily deported in 1955 to London. So his photo is there. He died extremely poor, while he left a legacy of his followers who are now close to most of them being millionaire and billionaires, many of them. So this guy died in abject poverty and unanimity. Nobody came to his funeral. And this was the guy, Kanji Manchu Desai, the real founder of Patel hotel business.
Mahendra ji, Kanji Manchu, it's also a very tragic story, right? He became an alcoholic, isn't it?
Yes, not only he was, when he came in 1930, He was married and had 3 children in Surat. He wanted to uplift his family. He was one of the 6 children in a farm where there wasn't enough food to go around. So he came to Trinidad and then to America to earn. But the earning wasn't enough. And in 1937, his wife passed away. So I guess he resorted to alcohol. He was not only alcoholic, he was also uh, 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 did a lot of other things. So he suffered from kidney disease, and he died because of the heavy use of liquor. But but one thing I admire, in spite of his personality drawbacks, he was a man of golden heart. He had a vision, and because of him, first 30 Patels got into the hotel business. Yes.
So Mahendra,
Now
as we
these
look
are
into the future, as you said, they are now into these boutique hotels. They are now into premier brand hotels. What is kind of the future for the Patels? Is it real estate or?
Patels have branched out beside hotels and motels. They're also in construction. They are also in financing. They are also in banking. Now, after Kanji Manchu, this is the third generation of Patels. They are born here. They are mostly Americanized. Of course, they still follow Patel and Gujarati culture literally. However, they have really graduated from the mom and pop store to the franchise store to the other fields. But most of them is uh, hotel motel related or the hospitality related. In other words, they are in supplies. They can supply napkins. They can supply the uh, 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 other things that a hotel is needed. So they are branching out because they know that the hotel business expansion is still there. They own now 62. Probably they own maybe 85% in next decade or so. They're doing best, and the Patels are no more of 1950s and 40s. They are college educated. In fact, some of the Patels have established the hospitality department in Surat and elsewhere. I was lucky to be able to be invited in the Oro University in Surat, where there is a huge hospitality department. And they also have the Marriott Hotel inside the campus. So the uh, these children or the students learn about the hotel business. They are sent 1 year here to learn, and then they go back and create a hotel business or work in the hotel business. So Patels are doing good, and they will continue to do good. So now these were the Patel ladies. Patel ladies' contribution is actually sidelined because being a female, I guess that the Indian mentality. I tried to highlight their roles. Without their contribution in 1950s, Patel wouldn't have expanded as much because these ladies not only were fourth grade, if even at that, they didn't speak English when they first came. They were shocked of the hotel culture, but they gave support to their husbands. They manned the desk, they cooked the food, and they raised the children. So the next generation of these Patels uh, are the children of these ladies. And then Their children are the one who really expanded and consolidated the hotel business. So some of these ladies are still alive, and I was able to collect a lot of first hand data to put in my book.
Now, Mahendraji, this book has also been the source of a documentary. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Certainly. There is a group of enterprising American-born Indians who work for ESPN and in Hollywood. When they heard about this Patel hotel business and how successful, so they wanted to write, they wanted to do some film or documentary about them, but they didn't have much storyline to go. So once they found out about my book, they asked me if I would sell them my rights of the book, and which I did. So what they have done a documentary of a very short documentary which they released in a 4 film festival so far, one in New York, one in Louisiana, one in Vancouver, one in San Francisco. And I was able to attend 2 of the festivals. And so what they did, actually, they highlighted the role of Kanji Manchu Desai. And then they were trying to raise more money so they could make a wider version of the movie. So because of this unexpected rewards of publishing the book, one is the movie and the second is the museum. And I am kind of in cloud 9 that I never expected my book to be accepted so widely. And in fact, the CNN did the movie review in New York, and because of the CNN article in their magazine, my book sale has jumped up quite a bit, which is a good benefit.
Yes, yes, of course. Richly deserved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Mahendraji, as we get to the closure, would you like to make some concluding remarks?
Yes, indeed. And first of all, I want to thank you for the Indic Department of the Massachusetts University for asking me to speak. It was a great honor, and I was able to share some of my stories and how I wrote and published the book. And it is what they said, in America opens the door for you. And America, this Patel proved one thing, that America is still a land of opportunity, no matter what Trump does. If you come to America, work hard, follow your goal, and you will be successful. So Patel's story in that sense is an immigrant success story. Kanji Manchu Desai and his acolytes couldn't have achieved this tremendous success in West Indies, in Trinidad, in England, or in Surat. He could only achieve this in America. And we all have benefited because America was and still a land of opportunity. And you work hard, you follow the rules, you would be successful. And there is not any other country that I can say the same thing.
Right, right. That's very appropriate because as far as we know, this success story was not replicated in East Africa or England or the Caribbean islands. It's only an American story, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is the only thing can be done because America doesn't matter you are brown color, whether you speak English or you have a master's degree in literature or in engineering. The 3 Patels who came here were barely educated, barely spoke English, but they had one thing. They wanted to succeed. They wanted to work hard. They wanted to take money back home. And so no matter of the immigration rate, no matter of discrimination, no matter the Punjabi owners harass them and force them to work overtime with very little pay, they suffered indignities, they suffered in silence, but they never lost sight of their goal was to succeed in America. And America provided them the platform to work on, and they succeeded. And this American success story about the hotel and the motel business is very unparalleled. A small community of 200,000 are owning 62% of the giant of the hospitality industry. And I take pride in Patels because they have the ability, they have the desire, and they have what they call in the DNA ability to take a risk, and they succeeded. There's not a single Indian community which have done such a remarkable job and success story as the hospitality industry. Of course, Silicon Valley here in where I am, they've done well. There are Indian high-tech guys being a CEO on various companies. But compared to Patel's invasion, I rather use the wrong word, in the hospital industry, there is not as significant as what Patel have done.
Correct. Mahendraji, if I may make a comment. So
Sure,
Kalyanji,
please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please.
So, I mean, this is a fascinating story. There is no question about it. It's a fascinating story, and it's got a lot to offer to the present generation of even students like Omkar, for example, our own College of Business student. What this reminds me, are a few things. First and foremost, hard work. There is no question. I mean, they knew when they came here, whoever came after the Kanji Manchus of the world, they all knew that the bottom line, in order for them to survive, live alone, to succeed, to survive, is hard work. That was number one. And number two was the resilience. They will have a few hiccups in the process, but they have to be resilient. They have to keep going. They have to hope for the better, and so on and so forth. And also the risk propensity. First of all, it is very amazing that the Gujarati community within the great country of India is more entrepreneurial and risk-taking and so on and so forth. As you mentioned earlier on in your presentation, that they say, hey, naukri mat dhund, dhandha dhund. So that's that kind of, don't look for somebody else to employ you. Be your own employee and your own boss or whatever. So that's the risk propensity and the resilience. The third thing that stands out in their success story is that enormous family and community connections. They are not like those people who say, you know what, I have come here, I have worked hard, I have succeeded, so everybody else is on their own. They need to do it themselves. They have tried to help other people in the same way that they have succeeded, right? They have tried to either through lending money or giving them some ideas or giving them some short-term support and so on and so forth. And most of all, this indomitable spirit that they can make a difference, they can succeed, and they can pass on this success for successive generations of their community is just fantastic. Now, some might say in a business, lingo, some might say, well, this is just a cluster effect. Like there are several other microcultures who have come here, have succeeded, but they all have certain formula for success. Like, look at the Punjabis, in California. They have gotten into farming more than anything else, or into trucking, for example, and logistics, for example. Look at the Bangladeshis in London, for example. Majority of the restaurants are owned by the Bangladeshis, as they say. So there are some cluster models, but this one is unique in its own way because it is not contained to one particular location like a London or a Punjab or a California and stuff like that. They have built success and they have exported it entire country. In the entire United States, it's a very common phenomenon that the Patel community is very resolute and very resilient when it comes to the hospitality industry. And so there are a lot of takeaways, a lot of things that we can take away from this. And please correct me if I have misspoken anything.
No, very true, very true. Patel's one ingredient of success is having a network of Patels. So if you are, from my talk with the people, they said, if you are from the same village in Surat district and you come looking for some work, and so Patel will go out of the way. And they give you the money and without legal contract or the monthly payment schedule, drib and drab method means if you pay $50 one week and 3 weeks later another $100, that's acceptable. So very, very true. But you mentioned about Indians in the donut business, Dunkin' Donuts, Indians in 7-Elevens, and Indians in various other, in the grocery business as well. But enormity of this hospitality business and the success they've achieved is unparalleled. There is not an American industry where influence of Patel is so paramount as hotel. So now, I can say in 2 words, there was a Gujarati poet called Khabardar. He wrote in 1901, he said, wherever there is a Gujarati, he goes abroad, he will build a mini Gujarat. Now that paradigm has changed. New paradigm is this. If there is a Patel in Corona, California, Corningware, New York, or Jackson, Wyoming, or Jacksonville, Florida, and vast landscape between, if there is a Patel, chances are is running a hotel or motel. So now with my apology to Khabardar, I say if there is a Patel, chances are is running a hotel.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Dean, with your permission, if I could just ask those of you who have been very silent listeners, this is your chance. Please, if you have any questions for Mahendra ji, you can.
Feel free.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat box. You can raise your hand. You can just unmute yourself. Please.
Yes, feel free. And I'm happy. I always like to share what I know. And the Patel story until recently has been not written because the South Asian scholars in major universities like Columbia, Berkeley, Stanford, they thought Patel narrative is very sketchy and doesn't have anything in archive. So they just were not willing to start the research of the story. And I'm happy that I started. It took me 8 long years to write this book, but I'm happy I did.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you, Dev Bhai, for, yes, I agree with you.
Thank
So
you
now,
so
Bela ji,
much.
would you just make some final comments?
I would give that honor to you if you would like to. I am very impressed by the talk, and this has been an eye opener. Though I was, as an immigrant when I came here, I actually stayed at a Patel hotel, and I didn't even know I was staying at a Patel hotel till later. But I was amazed by the cleanliness of the hotel, by the courteousness of the front desk. And then when I found out the owner is a Patel, I was even more impressed. So I have had actually first-hand experience living your talk actually.
Serve you the
So
breakfast for lunch, right?
yes, they were very helpful, very, very helpful,
Yes.
including breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, and I would request Professor Sen Gupta to say the last few words.
Okay, Belaji, thank you. I mean, on behalf of the Center for Indic Studies, I can only say how helpful the Patel community has been to us. We do not have very deep pockets. And whenever we host events where we have guests coming from India or from other parts of this country, and we cannot put them up in these, these fancy Marriotts or residence inns, we always go to Ishwar Bhai and say, Ishwar Bhai, we need 3 rooms. Ishwar Bhai, we need so many rooms. And never ever has he declined a request. And it comes with this very sumptuous breakfast to which I was not invited once, but I just happened to go at that time to bring my guest, and I saw they were kind of enjoying this breakfast and anecdotes. So it's been a wonderful community for us, and as I'm sure for many other such organizations. And it's, as Dean said, it's a very inspiring story, but we should never ever forget how tough times they had to go through to reach the success they are at today. There is no substitute to hard work, no substitute to resilience, resoluteness, and yet this community spirit, through our association with a couple of Patels, I now have the fortune of being kind of in the invitee list of a big Patel community in our neighborhood. And I'm just astounded how warm-hearted they are. I know they're very, very successful, and yet they're very open, very hospitable to us general people, and at the same time, I mean, they are clannish in that sense, as Mahendra ji said, but I think this clannishness is kind of very positive, because that helps keep this gel that is so important in this kind of a business. So with that, thank you so much, Mahendra ji. We look forward to having more seminars from you, including one on those who's who of Indian Americans in the US, the very popular book, and your experiences as reporter for India Abroad and News India Times. He has some very kind of warm anecdotes that he has shared in other interviews, but of course that was not the content of today's talk. So thank you so much, Mahendra ji.